Happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims. That's right. It's Let's Make Million time. Dan Alexander, and I'm joined, as always, by my better half, Adam Rosenberg. And yes, my head may be inside of a turkey's hoo-ha, but we are here to make some moolah, my friend. How about that alliteration here out of the gate, man? Hey, so if you haven't joined us, I usually don't have a stupid turkey on top of my head. No, this is the Thanksgiving Day edition, so we're getting you a week early here on Let's Make Millions, and we're happy to be here with you, folks. Last week, another kind of kiss your sister week for me and Berg here, 2-2-1, but it is not a losing week, especially since we hit 2 outright dogs. We told you we loved Cleveland. Cash it. We told you Dallas outright over the Eagles. We were sweating a little bit when we were down 21-0. As you see my Eagles gear on, all the Eagles stuff in the background here. Visited my parents back east. And it was a tough one for our fandom, but it was a nice one for our card getting that final dog home. So
also what we wanted for, no spoilers, but it's also for what we wanted for this week.
Exactly, because it set us up on coming back with some potential plays that we really liked. So as it stands today, we're right around 55%, 33, 25, and 2. So if you bet every bet with us here, you're a profitable sports bettor. And we've hit a lot of outright dogs. So we're sitting there. We're happy with the percentage, but we're still looking for that elusive 5-0 week. So what we do, it's 5 picks. NFL spread as we're recording on Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Circa has not locked their lines for the contest this week, so we're going to go off the current Circa line for our picks. And Berg, I say we get right into it. A minute into the show, let's talk our first pick, and our first pick is going to be in that Chicago Bears and Philadelphia 5 Eagles game. And Berg, we said if this line comes up 7 or lower, and I know you can't take me serious with this thing. Let me.
I can't take you seriously.
People. I mean, you can't take me serious with it off. That's very fair. that's very fair. We said if there was anything 7.5, 7 or lower, it was going to be a 2-unit bet for us on the Eagles. So yes, I'm wearing Eagle stuff. Yes, there's Eagle stuff in the background, but 11-0 here on WagerTalk TV, picking Eagles games. And you know they haven't covered 11 games, so we've picked on them. We picked against them. This week, Berg, we're laying the 7. I just don't see how this Chicago Bears team, by all advanced metrics, congratulations on the 8-2 record. This is one of the weaker winning teams in the NFL. I think Vic Fangio has a chance at making Caleb Williams' day very long on Black Friday. And the Eagles offense, everyone was talking about the tune-up game against Dallas. That defense, they should be able to move. They were able to move early on in the game. Then it kind of went to shit. I think this was the tune-up game that offense is working for. I make the final score anywhere from about 24, 28 points. Philadelphia Eagles, Chicago Bears, I think they struggle to get to 10. Give me 28-10 Eagles over the Bears. I think this is a margin victory for the Eagles here.
Yeah, I got it at my made-up model has it at 24-9. But with them missing an extra point, that's what I have in there.
I like that. I like when your model accounts for missing extra points. And dude, by the way, Water and Wawa here. What's your boy drinking? Some Wawa coffee for the folks.
I love it.
Little Wawa Winter's Wonderland for the boys here. Come back east. You better get your little Wawa. All right, sorry, Bert.
You're so in the mode. Wait till we hang out we're gonna be boots on the ground in a week. So
boots on the ground. Me and Berg going to the Chargers game together. It's going to be electric. Now I will make way for us to actually make a case for the Eagles -7 against the Chicago Bears.
So, look, this Eagles team has arguably top 3, top 4 defense in the league that you've seen it on pressure rate a lot last couple of weeks. It's exactly the stuff that Caleb Williams is not good at. We saw that in week 1. We actually saw it when he did struggle at times against the Steelers, which is an older version of the same types of defensive schemes that you're going to see with the Eagles. I expect this to be honestly expect this to be a monster Brandon Phillips game. I expect this to be a monster Jordan Davis game. I don't really like we said, we will fully admit that we're Eagles homers, but we also know when to fade this team. What we wanted last week, we wanted the Bears to win and we wanted the Eagles to lose. And we wanted that to be what the market perception is. What did we get? We got that. And we also got the line without any move. And what we always say on this show is a frozen line is infinitely more important than a moving line. Line hasn't moved. The fact that it still stayed at 7, 6.5 the entire week kind of tells you, if you look at how line moves work, as much as you need to know. It's a fantastic Eagles spot. I expect a huge Dallas Goedert game. I don't think this is going to happen because it's not the NBA. It's not NHL. I will say, we were both talking about it. Saquon had some comments after the game just about how he's not been great this year. Like, everyone's kind of got a wah-wah on this team, even though they're the second best record in the NFL and they're crying about their offense. But the big thing that I would take away, like, he looks like a guy who could probably, if it was doable, he could take a day off. Like, he could probably use a week off if they could ever do that. It's not going to happen because it's the NFL. But I expect actually probably a bigger Tank Bigsby game. I expect a huge Dallas Goedert game because he's been missing for the last couple of weeks. But again, didn't like the way we lost last week, but this is absolutely one of our bigger Eagles spots. This, then boots on the ground. Eagles by margin in this one.
Boom. Eagles, lay the 7. I think it's a great bounce back spot. And again, sure, you might think we're homers. We faded them plenty of times. We had the money line against the Broncos, or for the Broncos. We had the money line for the Giants. And last week we had the money line on the Dallas Cowboys. So all 3 games that they've lost, we've been against them. We're betting on them here in a nice bounce back spot. And Berg, another winning team that is in a nice bounce back spot. This one a little bit different of a handicap as we move to the Sunday card, as it is a divisional game, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. Current Circa line, we're looking at, let's call it 4.5. That's what we'll grade it on in the show here. 4.5 for Indianapolis taking on Houston. And Berg, congrats to Houston. What they're doing with Davis Mills, and now there's questions, is it going to be Stroud? Is it going to be Mills? I mean, I feel like you kind of got to dance with them that brought you, as they say. But the Texans, 3 straight wins for them here. That Thursday night football game, so they have a little bit of extra rest here heading into this game. But next week, in a way down the pike on Sunday night football, they're going to be facing off against the Chiefs. Colts in a bounce back spot here. They're the team that just faced off against the Chiefs. They end up losing that game, obviously, and they got outstatted. They nearly got tripled up on plays, and they still were able to make things tough with the possessions that they did have. Jonathan Taylor, he was completely limited, and still the offense was able to be moving the ball around and make the day a little bit longer for the Chiefs than maybe we expected. That was one of our losing bets here. We're swinging right back on it. Bounce back spot. This feels like a touchdown win here for the Indianapolis Colts as they're taking on the Houston Texans. What say you, Berg?
Yeah, this Texans team's kind of jump-started itself with Davis Mills playing QB. I don't buy the soft benching stuff. I just think that I actually don't think that their offense is that efficient to be thinking about it that way. Their defense is playing at an extremely high level, but we're fine with this Colts team people being down on the market on this Colts team. This Colts team has had 3 straight road games, including a trip to Germany as one of those road games. So as far away from home as possible. So coming back home against the division, I think this is a really good get right spot overall for them. The fact that the aggressive amount of line move that we've seen on this one open, I think they opened at 3, and this just a 1.5 point move kind of screams to me really a 17-10 type of game. I don't really buy a lot on how Houston's been able to move the ball based on the folks that they've been playing against. They played against a Jags defense that we know has tons of holes in it. That is a crazy high variance type of team where they every play that they go after is a home run, and if they miss it, it's a home run for the other team. And a Bills team that has a bottom 2 defense in the league. I know that this Colts D has slipped a little bit, but I liked how they did it last week. Actually, this is a good divisional Steichen spot going into the home stretch of them. They have divisional games against everybody. They can lock that up. But we're gonna fade this hot Texans team. I haven't liked them all year. Doesn't start now. I know it's a little bit chalky at times, but we're our Colts. Get them ready.
Our Colts, they are our team. That's right. We bleed blue. At least this week we do. We're laying the 4.5 in the bounce back spot. Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans. Another home team, but this one, Berg, we're finally taking some points. That's right. We're on a dog here, and a dog that a lot of people are going to be in the comments about. This will be one of the weeks, Berg, that the comments, they will be fast and furious on telling us how bad our picks are. And we're either going to look like geniuses or you get to drag us in the comments. That's what it's all about. Comment below and like and subscribe if you haven't already. But Berg, let's talk the home dog of the Tennessee Titans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, you and I we were independently coming up with our cards this week because I was traveling. Yep. You know, you're doing family stuff, so we both sent our 5 plays. We said 3, 2, 1, send them. We ended up on the same 5 plays. So that this alone makes me excited that independently we found a way to say you should bet on the Tennessee Titans this week. And we have a longtime viewer of the show, Michelangelo. We love you, buddy. Thanks for watching. He keeps asking, when are the Titans going to be on this show? When are you going to bet on them? When are you going to bet against them? He texted me last week, said that's a crazy line. I said it just missed for us. We think they could backdoor against the Seattle Seahawks. It wasn't a contest play. MA, buddy, we got your Titans on the card. Plus 6.5. And Berg, this spot, I mean, here's the thing. Are the Titans the worst team in the NFL? Maybe. Most likely.
But I don't know.
However,
yeah.
What I would argue too is that is priced into the line. The odds makers know that they are the worst team in the league. So 6.5 here is a very telling line against the Jags team that you and I have nailed 4 straight weeks betting on them, betting against them. Last week, we end up, pushing with that play. They go to overtime. They get the 3-point win. We were on the Cardinals. I think this is a game, Berg, not only is this backdoor potential, I think we have a barking live dog. I
completely agree.
I think Tennessee gets their 2nd win of the year this week against Jacksonville.
I love this spot for Tennessee. First of all, I'd like to remind everyone the same stat that we gave out last week. We don't take this Jags team on the road. This team does not travel well. They have, first of all, they absolutely haven't covered 6.5 over the last 2 years on the road, but they haven't covered even 3 on the road. They pushed last week. If you got a good number of 2.5, then yeah, they did. But again, they have not over the last 2 seasons covered more than 3 on the road. But this Titans team's been home for a month. Let that sit in. This is their 4th straight home game, and it's divisional. So you haven't had to go anywhere. In that 4 weeks time, this team players could date someone, break up with them, and then date someone new. And it would be
sounds personal, Berg. This sounds personal. Is this something that you once did in a former life?
Possibly. I did go to college. And then it could be socially acceptable for them to have that type of cycle within this. You could have a ton of things, not going anywhere and sleeping in your own bed for a month puts you, especially when you are a team that has nothing to lose, relaxed, easy to prep. Everything for your gym and your coaches are right there. Like everything's there. You don't have to travel. Like that's a big deal. And it's a divisional game. I don't care that they're the worst team in the division. It's a divisional game against that you haven't had to travel for 4 weeks. By the way, Titans have covered the last 3 weeks. And if you're watching them, which nobody is, just nobody's watching the Titans. They've had multiple special teams touchdowns. They've been coming up with they come up with big plays. People say, oh yeah, well, they backdoored in the Seattle game. They kind of grinded into this with the Seattle game and they just didn't quit. And part of that is probably because they haven't had to go anywhere. Looking at the Jags schedule, I just want to pull it up real quick.
Look ahead spot for them too. It's back-to-back.
Oh, massive look ahead. Yeah, I didn't even notice. Yeah,
this is a true. Hey, do we win the division? Do we lose the division? Yes, they're not going to overlook this game because it's a divisional game. So I wouldn't call it a full-on trap spot. But Colts next week at home, and they have 2 games left with the Colts, 2 games left here with the Titans. And the Jags have been 2 straight wins, but one came really easy. One came a little bit more grinded out. And Berg, I want to mention it too, because you said they've been home for a month. They've also had a bye week sprinkled in for that. So 4 straight home games. This will be their 4th straight home game. And as Berg said, he kind of glossed over it. They've covered all 3 of those games that have been here. And you can say, oh, it was a backdoor. It was just a backdoor for the Titans.
They scored first against the Chargers.
They were 13.5 point underdogs, and they lost by 6 points. You know what I mean? So that's not covering by the hook in the back door. They were 14 points, and then finally, you know what I mean? This was a 13.5 point underdog at home who covered by 6. The week before that, 6-point loss to the Houston Texans. Week before that, Chargers were 10.5-point favorites. They lose by 7 points. This is a team who has continued to exceed market expectations week after week. And you can say they're awful. You can say that they're terrible. That's all priced in. And then why are they not over a touchdown dog? Well, they are. It's being 6.5, but 7.5. If the Jags are this big behemoth, really tough spot here for the Jags. They get to go home next week. I'm with you here, Berg. You and I both came on this for different reasons. We arrived of it. This is money line. Bet them on the, what is it, like plus 250 around that, something like that.
It crashed, but the fact that it was under 3-1,
and the fact that it crashed too gives more credence to it.
Yeah, it's like plus 265 now. There's a lot of reasons to like this spot. Like, I don't like this Titans team, but I like this Titans team here, and this Titans team knows what they're doing. So yeah, give it to me again. Like I said, they scored first in a couple of those games too. They're not done. So yeah, I like this. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Take the 6.5 with the Tennessee Titans as they're taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you thought that dog was ugly, how about another ugly divisional dog? This one is on the road, and we are seeing the Las Vegas Football Raiders. Anywhere from 10-point favorites to 9.5. You know what, folks? We'll grade it at 9.5 here because that's the current Circa line. I think you may be able to get 10 in the contest, but again, we're going to grade it at the current lines. We'll call it 10.5. I think this is a 3-point game. Hey, we have faded the Chargers, several times throughout this year, and it's because they're just not that good. We were the ones who told you lay the money line at home with Jacksonville. Jacksonville ends up absolutely boat racing this team because they have an identity that's incongruent to the personnel that they have. They want to be this big defensive behemoth, but it's really the back end of their defense that's able to keep them in that range of being a solid defense. They want to be able to be physical, but their offensive line, especially with the Joe Alt injury and the kind of revolving door that they've had there, they are not a team who is just going to be able to slog it out and run the ball against you. Sure, it should be a boost getting a Marion Hampton back, but he was also low out of the gate too. So it's not we're finally getting off of Vidal and going back to our rookie running back. Yes, he played well before the injury, but he's coming back. He's a rookie coming back from injury in a divisional game with the Raiders team who has nothing to lose. They just lost outright as a favorite to Shedeur Sanders. Let Shedeur Sanders be the first starting quarterback for the Browns to get a win in, nearly 2 decades. So this is a team who you would think is going to be crawling into this game, right? They're just going to be waving the white flag. If this team's waving the white flag, Berg, how come they fired Chip Kelly? How come they fired their offensive coordinator if they're just going to come into this game and roll over? Now a guy in their passing game coordinator is going to be calling plays here now. This is a guy who's called plays for this team.
It's Greg Olsen. It's Greg Olsen, dude. He's been there forever.
and this is a team that the players like. So I think firing a coach like Chip Kelly, getting that stink of a guy like that off of your football team is going to have some pep in the step for this offense. And it's against a defense that I think is a little bit overrated. So I think there's nothing I've seen this year, whether it's the Raiders, whether it's the Titans, whether it's any bad football team right now, that you should be laying near 10 points with the Chargers. We saw it in the Jags game. We saw it in the Titans game. This is not a cover a 10-point spread type of football team right now. And I don't care if they're well rested. I don't care if the Raiders are bad. This number is telling me it's a Raiders spot. Now, this Berg, I'm not sure if I'm going to be so bold to sprinkle the money line, but this is a way closer game than a double-digit favorite, in my opinion. And even around that 9.5, crazy line.
It's the same number as when they played them in Vegas earlier this year, and they also only barely covered that. It was 20-9. So, when you look at how this, I like this Harbaugh. This is the Harbaugh that I do like. I'm not a Justin Herbert guy, and you've seen him come back down to earth the last couple of weeks. But this Raiders team, you can't underestimate, first of all, how terrible a culture fit Chip Kelly is, just as a human being. And AOC is probably going to end up in this game at some point. They activated his window. Players really like him. The guys on the team really like him a lot. I don't think they don't Geno, but Geno.
We're going to have an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez sighting in this game.
Yeah.
AOC will
exactly. Yeah, the Bernie Bros are going to be ready. Don't follow Dan or I on Instagram if you don't appreciate any of these jokes. But look, so I think, look, Greg Olson's been a name in the building in the Raiders organization for more than a decade. This is like his 15th stint as part
And
of
this
this
isn't
team.
the same Greg Olson that got hair transplants and is a commentator now, who should probably be doing more
it's
games
different. Yeah,
than
no,
Tony
but he
Romo.
does.
This is a different Greg Olson.
He
may
does
or
look
may
like
not
he's
have
had
gotten
hair plugs though. He
transplants.
does look. He looks. This one looks more like a classic Bond villain. You know, Sopranos guy.
It does kind of look like a classic.
You always
Bond
see
villain.
him, and you're like, didn't I see that guy in an '80s action flick?
Different Greg Olson, folks,
different
but
Greg
still
Olson,
a guy who's been around the
career
organization
quarterbacks
for a
coach.
while.
And so this line being the exact same as it was then. This Chargers team has covered more than 7.5 3 times this season against Pittsburgh in that Sunday night debacle game. That was just a gross game across the board. Against JJ McCarthy. No, it wasn't against JJ. I guess that was the Carson Wentz Thursday game where they sacrificed Carson Wentz and we got to watch him cry. Tiny violence. And then they, like I said, they won by 11 points. And they won by 11 points and they covered it against the Raiders earlier in the season. So look, my whole thing here is that I'm not as big on this Chargers offense. If you look at the yards per play, their yards per play is actually right around the same region as the Raiders. It's right in that mid 20s, 17s area. So we're going to take this Raiders team. We're going to hold it. We have a system, like I say, of how we do things here. Who looked the best? Who looked the worst? Sprinkle some dogs. Look at some chalk. This team arguably looked one of the worst last week, so we absolutely run and we take them this week. You do not have to probably race and take this line. Like you could. This is absolutely a game that you can bet day of. I don't always say that, but this is. I meant to say this on the Titans game, but like that Titans team that's been covering last 2 weeks. Nobody's watching the Titans. You are not putting that game on your Sunday ticket. You are not watching that game. No one except for Titans people are watching. They are flexing them out of anywhere, so no one knows that they've covered. Nobody's watching this Raiders team, so I would not worry. You're going to still get this up to 10. If it gets to 9.5, great. CLV claps on us. But the reality is that I'm pretty confident with the moves that have happened so far that this is still going to be a double digit on game day. And again, it's a divisional opponent. You just shouldn't be having double-digit dogs to any divisional opponent ever.
It's that simple. And yeah, this one again, 9.5 at Circa as it stands. That's what we're going to grade our picks at. Yeah,
we'll grade it on 9.5. I mean, it's a 3.5 point game to me. I think that I genuinely think that this is a 3 or 4 point game.
Yeah, and if the Raiders didn't lose outright last week to the Chargers, you're probably seeing 8.5 in this game. So the line just it's. Hate to use this word again since I used it earlier, but it's incongruent to what we've seen from both these teams this year, especially the Chargers.
Also with a look-ahead spot to us being in the building with the Eagles.
They know Berg and Newby are going to be in the house. They're like, oh, shit. How can we focus on this Raiders game when the boys
can't
are
focus,
man.
This dude's coming here. This kid is 45.
He's going to be loud. He's going to be loud. We're in the lower bowl. We actually paid for our tickets with the picks we've made on
with
this
the picks
podcast.
we've made here. Yeah, that's 100% true.
It's actually pretty amazing. So I will be the Julia Roberts as I am the pretty woman who will be sitting alongside.
My +1 for life.
Kayla,
I said thank you. All right.
Berg, we know whenever we talk to Patriots on this show, we're going to generate some comments. That's not why we're doing it, but tell us what dumb assholes we are, because we are taking 7.5 New York Football Giants on the road, taking on New England. New York Giants are a mess. Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, who knows? It's looking like Jackson Dart is progressing and he may play in this game. If he plays, this thing probably goes down to you at least lose a half point on this one. We're going to grade it at the 7.5 here. And Berg, for me, this is another similar way of why I like the Raiders. Like, we always talk about the fired coach bump, and it's the head coaching bump for sure. But there is something to be said for losing teams who fire a coordinator who you could argue has cost them games. And that was the case of the defensive coordinator of the Giants. They've invested a lot of money, a lot of draft capital in this defense. And what do they have to show for it? They've had games where late in the game, they are 10 points or higher in a lead category, and they lose those games. This defense is talented enough to win you football games, and the malpractice from the defensive coordinator, whether he was the scapegoat or not, this is a team who is not in rollover mode. They continue to play up to opponents. They took the Detroit Lions, who we laid 10
should
against
have won that
them,
game. Arguably, should have won that game.
And they punched us in the mouth and said, no, we shouldn't be 10-point underdogs to anyone. And the way that this line sets up with what we saw last week from the Patriots, who were in an absolute battle against the worst defense in the NFL. Yes, Drake May is amazing, but a couple of those throws looked like this is a young quarterback. And a young quarterback under pressure, which he figures to be. They lost a lot of beef up front. They lost offensive linemen potentially for the year to injury. This is the spot where maybe the Pats let up a little bit. The Bills lost. Like, this isn't afforded, hey, we can lose a game to the Giants. Not that that's what they're talking about, but there's maybe a slight mental lapse, which doesn't typically happen with Vrabel teams. This team has so exceeded expectations week after week after week. They're in the driver's seat for the 1 seed in the AFC. They likely still get that seed. But Berg, 7.5-point favorites against a scrappy Giants team. This is another game that could flirt around with overtime. I don't get how this line is north of a touchdown, north of an extra point, and the hook. 7.5, a crazy line to me. I think this is going to be a competitive football game that I will be playing the money line on the New York Giants, because this could be one of the letdown spots that is afforded to the Patriots because of how strong they've been this entire season.
Yeah, I circled this a couple weeks ago, and we mentioned it last week. I incorrectly was like, oh, it's a look ahead to the Bills. Well, it's a look ahead to a bye, and then it's the Bills. So the onus is on the Bills. The Bills have to still get through the Steelers and have to, the magic number, I believe, is 2. Bills still have to get through 2 more weeks because the Bills have already passed their bye. So to your point, the Pats don't have to win this game, but it's a super weird spot right before what is going to be a bye and then a game for the division, arguably the 1 seed. You have a non-con opponent coming into Foxborough on Monday on a primetime game too. It's a little bit, it's a little weird. Like when you go to, just pulling up also some adjusted line yards. So like, I'm a big fan of this. Look, I was converted by, Ryan Donald Kramer of the SGPN sisters, to really enjoy. I like this. I like the talent on this New York Giants defense. Brian Burns, like, back, dude. This team is great. I expect that they're going to be pretty aggressive, and I'm a huge fan of just, how this team gets sacks, gets pressure. And by the way, the Patriots lost who argued Will Campbell. I guess they drafted their franchise left tackle. And also, what's his name is, Jared Wilson's going to be out too. So that's going to, he's a guard. He's a rookie. That's
figuring out a new offensive line configuration against a team who just fired their defensive coordinator will be throwing very aggressive looks at you, and have a defensive line that has given every quarterback that they have faced fits at points during the game, whether they're mobile or not. This is not the week that I would want to be losing my tackles and also having a bye to look forward to say, hey, we could probably reformulate our offensive line a little bit better throughout this bye. It's not a good Patriots spot. And for the person in the comments who's going to say we don't give the Patriots respect, we like the Patriots. They have a negative they have a negative defensive DVOA, which has not happened for a team that has this many wins since, I believe, 2011. But I think that the Patriots are good. I think Vrabel's good. I think Drake May is good. My issue is that if you have an offensive line that has played 99% of their snaps together all season, which we know in front of a young quarterback,
we know who does not hold on to the ball well, and we know has sack issues when he can't get his second read, when he can't do his first read. That's a problem. You're not going to be able to get the running game going in a way that you want, and then that's going to basically cascade into not being able to do play action and a number of other things. It's not a good Patriots spot. 7.5's a lot. 7.5's a lot on. 7.5's a lot on primetime for teams that show bark. Like, it just, so
completely agree.
Yeah. So we're probably going to get 7. If we get a flat 7, fine. Then that's fine. But 7.5, you can take it now if you have it. So that's what we did.
Yeah, and this is one, we talked about, hey, if you want to bet this game, wait on it, whatever. You see in this one, at Circa, it's 7.5, 105. So probably when the contest lines drop, this probably will be 7. You want the hook. Down to 7, primetime game, you want that hook. It's not a stay off the play for us because we think this is closer to a field goal game. We think that this is a potential money line outright win for this dog. So, this is one that if you're watching this on Wednesday afternoon, you agree with the thoughts there, don't wait until Monday to bet this one. Bet this one now because it's going to be 7. Hell, by game day, I wouldn't be shocked if it's 6.5, especially when Dart gets announced as the starter, which makes me like it even more. But I'm agnostic to Dart. I'm fine if it's Jameis Winston. We saw last week the guys just
we're big Kafka guys, dude. So
love Kafka. Again, Kafka, he's auditioning for a head coaching role, and
you always should have been head coach.
Back-to-back weeks, he's looking like a strong candidate. So there it does. 30 minutes on the dot, Berg. We're at the recap screen here already, and I believe I got all the teams correct this week. I made my list, and I checked it twice. Philadelphia, -7 against Chicago. That's a Black Friday play for you. Indianapolis, laying 4.5 Sunday action in division against Houston. Another divisional matchup. We have all 4 of those teams in division in play for you on the
We
card
almost
here.
went all NFC East, too. So this is a nice
we almost did, but we were like, do we really want to bet the Commanders out of the bye? Yeah. So we do
like the bonus pick. We do like the Commanders, by the way, just so that
we like the Commanders.
Right? Yeah,
we also lean towards the Cowboys. There were just a couple trends that put me off of that one. But buddy, we got you, my Titans brethren. 6.5 against Jacksonville. It's an outright win. Sprinkle the money line there. Las Vegas, crazy line at the LA Chargers. We're taking the 9.5. And on Monday Night Football, let's all sweat the Giants together. Berg, what a fun show, buddy. I'll put back on my turkey vagina hat here for you.
I don't have my Eagles. My Eagles hat's on the other side. My Eagles hat's on the other side of the room. I'll be wearing it though. I'll be wearing it and rocking my 20 pounds less because of Ozempic. First Ozempic Thanksgiving coming up. I do, dude.
You look great,
hot.
buddy.
You look great. I said to my wife last night, I was like, look how hot I am. She's doing it too. So she looks hot great as well. She always did. But I'm just like, look how hot I look. And she's like, you're like the most vain Ozempic user I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah,
Berg, I have found all of the pounds that you have lost, and I will continue to find them.
It's fine.
Here.
Oh, dude, I'm not taking it this week because I'm eating so much. So.
Yeah, you're like, I can't take my performance enhancer. I need to be locked in for Thanksgiving.
Aperture.
That is Hey Rosenberg, whether he's in focus or not. I am Dan Alexander. You can follow us both on Twitter. Newbie Talks at Hey Rosenberg. Folks, if you like the show, comment below. Whether you love us, whether you hate us, whether you love turkey vaginas, we'd love to hear you. And also, second birthday. She ran upstairs. Second birthday for my dog, Winnie. If you're a long fan or a longtime fan of the show, you've seen her on this program, drop a comment below. Happy birthday, Winnie. And until next week, week 14, it's week 13. We've had 3 losing weeks this season. Keep riding with us, folks. Come on. That 5-0 week is coming. Let us know if it's this week in the comments below. And until week 14, let's make millions, pilgrims.